Hi, my name is Michael J.C. Connell, and I'm going to be talking today about Young Goodman Brown, which was a story that we had to read this semester. And I'm going to be discussing on the discussion question on the board that was whether or not it was important that Goodman Brown had a dream or if it was a real meeting that he went to with the witches in the forest. So I wanted to talk about two reasons why it did not matter whether or not it was real or if it was a dream or a vision. And the first reason would be that Goodman Brown was raised so religious that he would easily believe that if he had a dream or a vision that it was reality. The second reason would be no matter what the evening's events in the woods, if they were real or not, Brown's life changed the very next morning afterwards, for because he believed what he thought he saw. um, Going further on the first reason that I stated, Goodman Brown had been raised to be very devout in his faith. This is shown in the story by several references to characters from his childhood that he has come to respect, such as the Reverend and the Deacon and the woman that taught him catechism, basically the woman that had taught him the dogmas of his faith. Um, because of this, he easily accepts that he can be tempted by Satan while he's in the forest. Going upon the second reason, which was that it doesn't matter because it changed his life the very next day. At the end of the story, when he wakes up the next morning, he's shown in the forest, and then when he leaves, he goes into the town of Salem, and the very first person that he sees is the Reverend, and the Reverend greets him and tries to bless him, but he shies away from the Reverend. He completely avoids him. The next thing he sees is the woman that taught him catechism, and she's basically preaching to a young girl that brought her milk, and he grabs the young girl away and takes her away. And then the third person that he sees is when he rounds the corner, he sees his wife Faith. All these people were depicted in his dream or whom he saw in the forest, and whether or not it happened, his opinion of these people have changed because of what he thinks he saw. He cannot go up to these people and ask them whether or not they were at this witches meeting, because then it will make them assume that he was there and that he could be a devil's worshiper. This belief that he has, it haunts him for the rest of his life, changing all his relationships, making him a very sad and lonely man, so that even at the end of his life, when they carve his tombstone, it has no markings on the stone at all, or any kind of sayings, just a blank headstone. That's all it is. At one point in the story, Goodman Brown looks up into the air and he sees what he thinks is his wife's pink ribbons that she wore on her bonnet, and he thinks at that time that they have gotten his wife Faith, that Satan has got a hold of her and taken him away from him, and he cries out, he says, "My faith is gone." This, I believe, has a double meaning. One is that they've taken his wife, which is basically his sole reason for living. That's in the carnal way of viewing it. If you view it in a spiritual way, it means that they've taken his faith, his illusion of anything that he was taught to believe in his religion. The biblical definition of faith is that it's evidence of things hoped for but not seen. So it's basically an illusion that you've been taught. It could be real, it may not be real. It's all based on faith that's spiritual. So when he cries out that his faith is gone, they've taken away everything that he believed in, his illusion of religiosity, and because of that, he's easily succumbs to the devil. He says, go ahead and come and get me, basically paraphrasing that. Going further upon reason two, the illusion of whether or not it was real. the perception of humans is so easily tricked that we see it in very many psychological tests with perception and senses. In the woods, even in the story, it talks about the howling wind and how he kind of wonders if it's the wind or if it's voices he's hearing, or if the trees that are appearing are actually people or monsters or whatever. Through darkness and different sounds, it's very easily to trick your perception. These illusions are kind of like a magic trick, and I kind of want to show you what this is like. If you view a magic trick, even if it's not real and you know it's not real, you see it, and if you don't know how it's done, it gets stuck in your head that it could be real. My visual aid I'd like to use is this right here. It's called the toothpick trick. As you see here, I have a toothpick in my hand. I wave my hand, and blam, it's gone. And then I wave my hand, and it's back. Now, as you might have seen, because my tape was coming off, this is how it's done. You have a tape on your thumb, piece of scotch tape, with the toothpick on it. Now, if you don't know that, it seems like I made the toothpick disappear and reappear. But easily now you can tell that the illusion is just that. I did not really make it disappear. It was just merely taped to the back of my thumb. So, by seeing that, if you didn't know how it was done, then you would go on to believe that it was real. Same with Goodman Brown. No matter whether he dreamed or had a vision, he still believed that it was real, and it changed his life forever. In conclusion, I'd like to say that the story, it relates to the human battles in the perception of good and evil, and that's what it shows through Goodman Brown's story through the woods. His experience is most likely a dream or a vision because of the different spiritual aspects, which he sees Satan as an older version of himself. He sees he's able to witness the powers that he has, such as moving much faster or teleporting. Also, at one point, he throws down his staff, which has a serpent at the top, and it does the things that the Egyptian magi did back when Moses was in front of the Egyptian magi. And all these things were probably already implanted in his head through the teachings that he had in his religion. So it's very easy to understand why he would have thought that these things were real, even if it was a dream. Another thing that makes me believe that it was a dream, in fact, is that in the story it shows that he wakes up actually in the middle of the forest, and he's on what was the altar in his dream. So that's another reason I believe that it was a dream or a vision that he had. Either way, no matter, as I've kind of demonstrated through the change in his life that's happened because he thought it was real, and also through the fact that he was very susceptible to believe it because he was already very devout in his faith, so it's easy for him to accept. So therefore, it does not matter whether or not his meeting, the witch's meeting in the forest, was real or not. It still changed his life forever, to change all his interactions with other people that he respected and loved. All right, thank you, and that was my my speech on young Goodman Brown.